Taylor, you having a great time?
This is awesome.
Isn't it awesome? Hi, I'm Darryl Choronzey, and today I'm with Taylor Jeffery, and we're up at Kluane Wilderness Lodge, right? And we're gonna catch lots of fish like this.
Hopefully.
Hopefully? You can bet on that, buddy. I'm putting this back in the water.
I'm going fishing all the time, and my baby's going fishing too. Bet your life that your sweet wife can catch more fish than you. Any fish will bite if you got the right bait. Now here's a little something that I'd like to relate. With my pole and my line, I'm going fishing. Yes, I'm going fishing. My baby's going fishing too.
Going Fishing with Darryl Choronzey is brought to you in part by Ontario, more to discover, Yamaha Motor Canada, and by Montana's Cookhouse. Closed captioning of Going Fishing is brought to you by Fish Crisp.
Taylor Jeffery. Now, I'm gonna tell you, we're gonna do something a little different today, okay? The locals up here like these, right? And what they do is, you just let that out, and what they're using is lead core line, right? It's got different color sections. Each color section is 10 yards. You're gonna let out 4 color sections, right? So that's 10, that's 40 yards. You're gonna get down to about 45, 50 feet. If I see a fish on there, I'm gonna put it neutral, and that jig is gonna drop, and all I want you to do is, then you jig it, right? And it's gonna stir up the bottom, and the trout's gonna come. Now, you're gonna use this. I'm gonna use this, right? So that's atomic, right? And that atomic gets in the water, and it goes back and forth, side to side, but it's that side to side movement that really attracts the fish. I'm gonna put it on a downrigger. Now, under normal circumstances, right, I'd be back, 100 feet behind the cannonball, but I've got a camera set just above the cannonball. So I'm only gonna be back 6 or 7 feet, and that will spook some fish, right? But we'll be able to see what these lake trout are doing when they get up close. Now, I've got a feeling I'm gonna outfish you today. I just think those lake trout are gonna come after that bait that's going like this, right? If I start to outfish you, I'll take the jig, right, with the power tail. And you can have the atomic, how's that?
Okay.
Let's go for it, buddy.
All right.
I'm all ready. We're gonna have a great day. Okay, push off. We're gonna have a ball.
It's a lake that's tucked up in Canada's Yukon Territories' northwest corner. In fact, to reach this fisherman's diamond in the rough requires you to take a 4-hour flight from Vancouver with a stopover in Whitehorse. Once you get here, make sure you hold tight to your fishing rod. You're fishing a lake that many authorities claim is the world's premier body of water for trophy lake trout. It's called Wellesley Lake, and believe us when we say it truly does produce some of the biggest lake trout the world has to offer. Today, Choronzey teams up with Taylor Jeffery. It's Taylor's first trip for lake trout, and he couldn't have selected a better lake. Remember, it's Kluane Lake Lodge on the Yukon's Wellesley Lake, home of the world's best lake trout fishery.
Taylor Jeffery, your first Kluane lake trout.
Yep.
I'll tell you what, buddy, that nailed, and I mean that nailed, that atomic like there was no tomorrow. You just keep that fish out, eh? Now, Taylor, you gotta understand something. We just put that atomic down. That's pretty quick.
It is.
You know, you were out with your dad, how many days, 2?
Yeah.
And then bang, bang, bang when you're at the master.
Yep.
I think you got a big fish here, pal.
It seems pretty big.
Hey?
I can't really compare it to anything.
Well, what's the biggest lake trout you've ever caught?
I'd say like 30 inches long, maybe.
30 inches? I think you're gonna have at least a 30 here. How's that?
That sounds good.
Taylor, what we're doing is we're running 2 different types of baits. We're gonna run those plastic tails with the jigs, right?
Right.
We're also gonna run a real jumping bait like the atomic.
Okay.
We're gonna see what happens. Now just, okay, then wind on the way down. You wanna use that drag just as much as you wanna use that rod, okay?
Okay.
And the best way is you bring it back like that, and then you wind on the way down. There you go. But just don't give it any slack line.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Oh, God. Oh, God. Is that right? That is strong. The bigger the fish, too, they'll get right under the boat like this.
So hopefully it's huge then.
Hopefully it's huge. I think it is huge. There's no two ways about it. I'll throw my glasses back on so I can see down there. Don't ever give him any slack line though, okay? I'm just gonna get this rod out of the way because you got a nice fish there, pal. You know, you can work him. Okay, remember what I said? Okay, now take that rod down, you wind. You just do not want to give him any slack because we've got barbless hooks. Nice fish, buddy.
It's fairly big.
Now, keep that rod tip out. Keep it over that way. Now, nice and slow. You got a nice fish here. Just bring him up, but don't jerk him. Just keep it out this way because I'm going to try and tail him, okay? Just do what you're doing. You're doing great.
All right.
Just do what you're doing, buddy.
It's like a huge fish.
Yeah, bring him over this way. Don't jerk him. Oh, don't jerk him. Don't jerk him. What do you say, pal?
That's massive.
That's massive. That's your lake trout, buddy. Hey? Is that a dandy?
It is.
Wellesley Lake lake trout. That's nice, eh?
Hopefully we catch some more like
That's
that.
Can you just pull that hook out of there, buddy?
I can.
Good. That's barbless. It should come out easy. That's a nice fish.
It's beautiful.
I'm going to put him back in.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to put him over, Taylor, and then we're just going to try and slowly revive him. These are strong fish, Taylor. Look at this. He wants to go. You know what, buddy? I think I'm going to let him go. Is that a nice fish? Watch this. Big fish, eh? That's not bad for only 15 minutes of fishing.
Yeah.
We were out at shore lunch. Taylor this morning was out having pike, and you said, let's go for some lake trout. I said, well, if we're going to spend the time to go for lake trout, why don't you do a show with me?
Sounds good.
That's not bad. 15 minutes, you caught your biggest lake trout ever.
Yep.
Well, you know, when Taylor was fighting that fish, it actually hit the lure pretty close to the boat, right?
Yeah.
It came off the downriver, it nailed that tomic, and I was actually just putting that tomic down, lowering it down, and it hit. And I said to Taylor, that fish is a big one because he's going down, right?
Right.
Or what did I tell you about bubbles?
Air's coming out of its air bladder.
That's right. What happens is we're bringing these fish up, and under prime conditions, ideal conditions, they'll start expelling air, right?
Right.
And that's just nature's way so they can come up without hurting themselves. And a lot of times when you don't see this, you want to burp the fish if possible. You gently just rub its belly, try to push the air out of the bladder without hurting it. But that fish certainly didn't need it because he just dove right down to the bottom. Is this paradise?
It is.
Put her there, buddy. And I'll tell you what I do. Every guy that goes fishing with me and catches his first lake trout gets a little lake trout slime, pal.
That's good.
Now, look around you.
It's calm.
You know, there's not too many places in the world that are this nice.
That's true.
You know? Lots of trees,
Yeah.
lots of scenery,
It's beautiful.
flat, calm water.
Can't
Nice
ask for
lake.
anything else.
You can, eh? Nice lake.
Yeah.
Okay, let's
Nice
go
lake.
for it.
All right.
We'll do this one more time.
Going fishing returns with more trophy lake trout fishing at Wellesley Lake.
I hate to say this to you, Taylor, but I've done it again.
We got another one on the back one.
Yeah,
All of them been on it.
all of them in on that. You know why? Because I've got the tomic down there, right? And you've got the jig. It's been a little slow for you, eh?
It has.
Guess why? Because it's my show. I can do what I want. No, what's happened, Taylor, is I've got a camera called the Strike Vision down there, and it's watching the spoon all the time, and we can see the fish. But you remember when that first rod went off and I said, here, take it? Mm-hmm. It was this rod, and it was the tomic, right? And the locals up here like to run jigs, and they like to run big plastic bodies, right? They troll with them. I just like a lure, something like the tomic, that jumps all over the place.
How come I'm using the plastic bait?
Because I told you, it's my show. What we're gonna do, Taylor, is we're gonna make one little change. I'm gonna keep this tomic on the downrigger just because it looks good on the camera, okay? On the underwater camera.
Yep.
But I'm gonna put a great big minnow on called the Polish minnow. You know why it's a Polish minnow?
No.
I'm married to a Polak. No, I'm only kidding. I really am married to a Polish lady, right?
Okay.
But a buddy of mine makes this lure called the Polish minnow, or he imports it, right? And I know we're gonna catch fish with it. Now, we're gonna go to shore lunch later, and where do you see the flesh on these fish?
Okay. How good will that be?
It's gonna be the best meal you've ever had, let me tell you.
All right, I'm looking forward to it.
You live in Burlington, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you something. I don't care how good they say the seafood restaurants are in Burlington, it's not as good as shore lunch at Kalani. You like fish, buddy?
Yeah, it's good.
Well, you're gonna really love this. This guy is a heavy fish, you know? Now, what you get a lot of times, Taylor, is you'll get a lake that's got a lot of small lake trout. Here, they just seem to be big lake trout.
Which is always good. Whoa.
look at the size of this guy, Taylor. And look at this. Our other rod is, he's tangled in that. That's okay. I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I've caught that other line, right? That other line, I'm gonna try and get that line out of there. We'll see. That fish has got that other line. What's happening is he's gone across our other line.
Oh.
That's okay, just leave that right where it is. Taylor, I'll tell you what, these are big fish down here.
And there's some world records here, aren't there?
Yeah, well, what we saw was in the lodge, those plaques.
Okay.
And they're also setting a lot of line records. And what you've got, Taylor, is not just overall line records, right? Line records for 2-pound test line, you know, with the biggest being caught.
Yeah.
8-pound test line. But this is a nice fish, Taylor. You see this line going across?
Yeah.
Okay, that's why I wanted to get you to get that jig out of there, but that's okay now, because he's not tied up in it.
How deep down was that fish?
Well, we're fishing right over about 75 feet of water, and I only had this atomic down there about 35 feet. Now, what you're gonna see in a minute, Taylor, is some line running across my monofilament, and it's where that jig you were using is down there. Look at this fish. There's the bubbles, Taylor. Look at this fish, Taylor, eh?
Wow.
Look, and you know what? We freed him of that line. But a real tip for you, pal. When 2 guys are fishing in the boat, there's those bubbles. When 2 guys are fishing in the boat, the other guy automatically brings his rod in so we don't tangle. That's a nice fish down there, look at that. And that's not gonna go 30, but that's gonna go about 22 pounds maybe. That is a dandy.
It's a nice looking fish.
Nice fish. We got him. We got him, pal. Ugh. What do you think?
That is a nice fish.
Look at him, he's just got that atomic sideways in his mouth. Look at that thing. That is a dandy, dandy fish, eh? That is a sweetheart. Tell you what, we're gonna put this atomic back down after I release the fish.
Okay.
And you get the atomic the next time around.
All right, sounds good.
Now, Taylor, we saw those bubbles come out, right?
Right.
You know when I was fighting this fish?
Yeah.
So, he was throwing air as I was bringing him up. I was bringing him up slow, right? So he was throwing air, so his bladder is gonna be a little more compact and he'll be able to swim right down there as soon as I give him a second to recuperate. Taylor, you wanna know something? Kluane Lodge is on Wellesley Lake, and this was one of the first catch and release lakes in Canada. Yeah, and the deal is you don't wanna eat a big fish like this.
That's true.
You know?
Catch him again.
This is your brood stock. These are the genetically fit fish that you want for a lake, right? So you can eat the little ones, but you get these big spawners, and you want them to go down there and, you know, live to fight another day.
Yeah.
And also to reproduce like there's no tomorrow. And like I said to you, you see those air bubbles, right? And you know that that fish is expelling air, right, as he's coming up. So he's okay to go back down. If you don't see those air bubbles, you want to hold on to that fish, you know, and just let him recuperate himself. And when you start feeling him try to pull away from you, then you can let him go so he can go down. Buddy, put her there. And guess what? I got you again. Let's get you a fish this time.
Okay.
I'm gonna throw the atomic on your rod. How's that?
Sounds good.
Let's go for it.
All right.
The lake trout of Wellesley Lake are without a doubt plentiful and grow to be some of the biggest lakers found anywhere in the world. Remember, this is the land of the midnight sun, so for most of the summer, the lake trout here go on a 24-hour-a-day feeding spree. There is also the abundant forage base of whitefish and grayling that is found everywhere in the lake. Our Strike Vision camera proved that even though Wellesley Lake looked clear from the surface, the deep levels of the lake were dark green and rich in nutrients. So with plenty of zooplankton, a substantial amount of bait was present for the hungry trout to feed on. The big trout that Kluane Wilderness Lodge is famed for were found everywhere we dropped our baits. Kluane Wilderness Lodge, you just have to love it.
Guess what, Taylor? As soon as I get this in, I'm gonna hand it to you. I told you get the next one.
All right.
Now keep that line tight and keep that reel going.
Okay.
You do not want to give them slack, nice and slow, but you don't want to give them slack. Again, you've got barbless hooks, one single hook down there. You just keep them out that way. Keep that rod out that way. These are nice fish, buddy. I don't know what you're experiencing, but get some jive in you, pal. This is paradise.
It is.
It really is.
Very nice. So, Darryl, what's the difference between all these reels?
Well, that one I've got set up for the downrigger. I'm only running 10 or 12 pound test on there, right?
Oh, okay.
The other ones have got lead core line in it, which allows the lure to get down fast without a downrigger.
Oh.
And I'm running the downrigger today for one simple reason. We've got that underwater camera on. I want to see how these fish are reacting to different baits.
Right, so it looks like the plug beats the jig then.
Well, we won't tell that to the owner of Kloani, right? Because he likes his jigs. I like my topics. Listen, if you can get a plug out there going like this, it turns those fish on down deep. And they can also see that plug down there, you know, jumping all around instead of that jig just going straight through the water.
Yeah.
Nice fish, pal.
Feels like it.
Hey, I tell you what, this is fantastic fishing up here.
Yeah.
Taylor, have you ever been to a nicer lodge?
I have not.
Have you ever been to a lake with this many fish in it?
Nope.
Okay, keep that out because you don't, don't pull her up too hard. You don't want him bringing that line across the rivets of the boat, okay? And you don't want him getting around that moat. Oh, here he is here. Go slow. Jeez, you got that guy up fast. Hold on to that rod. Whatever you do. Boy, did you bring him up. Just keep it out there. That's okay. He's starting to wear out a little. I'm just going to give him. Now look at the color on this fish. Look at this. Mr. Trout. I don't want to hurt him. Just bring that line back here nice and easy. Nice and easy. Don't horse him too hard, Taylor, because that's our last atomic in the tackle box.
You don't want to lose that.
Nice fish, pal. I'll tell you what. Look at the belly on that lake trout. Wow. Is that ever a dandy? Now, I'm gonna try and get him up. What do you think, buddy? That's your lake trout. You hear him burping out the gas?
I do.
Hey, that's not hurting him. I'm gonna get you to just pull that hook out of his mouth. Will you?
All right.
He just doesn't want you touching him. Okay, now put that atomic over there. Is that a nice fish?
It is. It's a beauty.
Hey? You notice that we're not using any nets?
Yeah.
Right? Because nets do hurt these fish. But what we do have are cradles up here where we can just swim them into the cradle. Now, you remember I said we didn't hurt that fish? Mm-hmm. See how strong he is?
Yeah.
And he blew his bubbles out when he came up to the top. Look at this, look. There he goes, Taylor. Now, is this fun or is this fun?
This is fun.
This is Kloani fun, buddy. Put her there. And no more slime.
All right.
Let's go catch one more, okay? And maybe we'll go in. Now we'll stay up for a couple more.
All right.
And now for the Montana's Cookhouse tip of the week. Big lures relate to big fish. Don't hesitate to tie on 8-inch plus plugs and spoons for the big ones.
You're gonna shut yours off, right? Taylor! I'll tell you what you can do with that jig. Put it in your tackle box. Pretty hot action, Taylor. Hey? Now that one wasn't down more than, what, 4 minutes? That
I'd
was
say
something.
4 minutes.
Shut this off. He just wants to go back. Taylor Jeffery, is there anything better than fishing up here?
Nope.
In the Yukon, buddy. Land of the midnight sun. Land of the big fish. He's got this rod bent over. I'll tell you, just shut that camera off. That's what? 7 fish we've had on in almost no time, eh?
Yeah.
He's
Pretty
coming
good.
around. Yeah. I'm gonna tell you what kind of nice guy I am, right? He may be 60 pounds, but you fight him.
All right. Thank
All
you
right,
very
there
much.
you go. Just remember you owe me. And if you lose my lure, you're really gonna owe me because it's a long swim back to camp. That's it. Okay, wind as you go down. Now, don't jerk too hard, just, there you go. Hey? It's not like swinging a golf club, buddy. You know, these are strong fish, Taylor. We don't need a motor, right? We can just let him pull us back to the lodge. You won't see a lot of lakes that have got a bigger average lake trout than what we've got right here.
What's this one?
I'm gonna bet you the average, and I mean the average, has to be over 10 pounds.
It's pretty
You know,
good.
there's fish in here up to 50, 55 pounds, right?
That'd be nice to catch.
No, because if it's that big, I want my rod back, okay? Okay, get him up, just work him a little. Now, you wind as you go down, right? But don't jerk, okay? Nice and smooth. You know? This is a lot harder than golf. Don't let anybody tell you. Like, fishing is a real sport, right?
Yeah.
Running around with those stupid pieces of steel in your hand, that's not a sport. This is the game I'm in, especially when you're playing with fish this big.
Yeah.
Now, you see those bubbles coming up a second ago? Get them over, get them over. Look at the size of this fish. Now, is that a nice lake trout? Now, see the bubbles again? Mm-hmm. Yeah, keep them over this way. Okay, whoa, don't mind until you, he's just gonna sound. That is a nice fish. You head him to the surface. Oh, I see him coming again. You see him? Mm-hmm. So you can see about 25 feet down here.
Yeah, the water's so clear.
Now look at the size of that fish. That's not a little lake trout, pal. Get him over here. Get him over. Wind some line in. You bring him up here. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa. God. Nice fish. Nice fish, Taylor. What do you think?
Did you say that's bigger than our last one, or?
You think so?
I don't know. What would you say?
I'd say he's gotta go. That's about 18 pounds, I'd say. Is that a nice fish?
It is a nice fish.
That is a dandy. You've had enough pictures with big fish, right?
Yep.
Now, did you see the way he was burping, expelling that
Yeah.
water? And that air, eh? Mm-hmm. He's just gone right back down to the bottom. He's gone down 50 feet. And I got that guy on camera I'm gonna show you later.
All right.
Listen, I'm a lot older than you. How come I'm the guy getting slimed and getting wet?
I don't know.
Put her there, buddy. Does it get any better?
Nope.
Isn't this better than golf?
Yep.
All right, you're my type of guy. Let's catch one more. What do you say?
Okay.
Okay.
Going Fishing returns with Shore Lunch.
Bob Waltz, Hacienda Heights, California, right?
Right.
Let me ask you something. How many years you been coming up here?
Well, since '85 as a guest, and this is my 15th summer I've spent up here.
And what are you doing up here right now besides getting shore lunch together?
Little as possible.
But you show the guests where the fish are, right?
Well, I try, yeah, and help keep Brian out of trouble.
Listen, you're the guy that said, let's take the lake trout, do it a little different. How have you got it?
It's corn flakes and some spices that we won't divulge.
You won't tell me?
No.
Okay, listen, I'm going to lay them in the oil.
Watch your fingers now, okay?
Brian Dack, I guess I can call you the head honcho at Kluane Wilderness Lodge.
Yep, for sure.
You know, I use this term over and over and over again, but when I'm up in the Yukon, this is paradise.
Yeah.
How many miles is your lake?
It's 11 miles by 6 miles.
And it's just a fish factory, right?
Can't get lost.
It's impossible to get lost because you can catch fish right off the dock.
That's right. We had a world record for a junior last year, about 200 feet from the dock.
This is, again, paradise. I've got to thank you for letting me come up. And I want to tell you, if you get the opportunity, don't pass up the chance to visit Wellesley Lake, the Yukon, Kluane Wilderness Lodge. I'm in the north. I don't have to use my fingers, right?
Nope, that's right.
Let's eat this and then we're going back fishing.
Okay.
For more information on all our Going Fishing destinations, visit goingfishingtv.com. Going Fishing has been brought to you by Yamaha Motor Canada, Abu Garcia, and by Berkeley Trilene. Going Fishing would like to thank the following fine sponsors.
Going fishing, going fishing. Baby smiling my way, gonna have a great day, no competition. Going fishing.